Today we're going to talk about physical contaminants. Physical contaminants is when food becomes contaminated by objects that get in there that should not be there. Examples of these are things like hair. If your staff is not wearing hats, then you need to address this immediately. Hats should be worn at all times. Visors are no good. You can see this guy right here. The hair is sticking out the top, it's sticking out the sides. It's not doing you any good. Baseball hats that are worn with your hair down and your hair still out. So you're containing the hair on top. It's not going to hold the hair down here. Definitely not baseball hats that are, if you're going to wear a baseball hat, if that's part of the uniform, then the hair needs to be in a tight ponytail and you need to have a hairnet on that ponytail. Nothing drives me more crazy than when I see someone walking around wearing a chef's hat the wrong way. It's meant to be on your forehead, right? So at least all of these photos, they at least have it on their forehead. Can't stand it when I see someone that has it on the top of their head like this. It's not the purpose. The purpose of the chef's hat is this part right here sits on your forehead, and it's used as the original sweatband. Before the NBA had it, we as chefs had it. Original sweatband, it stops the sweat right there so you can continue to work and you don't get sweating in your eyes. It also will keep the hair from your forehead up inside your hat, right? If you have long hair and you're wearing a tall hat like this, you should have it in a ponytail and you should have a hairnet on it so you contain it. I can't stand when I see someone wearing it on the back of their head or they put it on and they have all their hair sticking out the sides. It defeats the purpose. Here's an example of what my students look like. Every one of these girls has long hair, and you can see in Gabby's right here, it's stuffed up inside and it's kind of hanging there. I wear the tall chef's hat. That's what I like to wear. But these guys are all wearing the pastry hats, and you can see that on the side, all their hair is stuffed up inside. None of their hair is sticking out. I cannot have food getting in I cannot have hair getting into my food. Dirt from boxes and fruits and vegetables, right? The fruits and vegetables are grown in dirt. There's going to be dirt on them. The boxes, they're at the farm. They put the produce in it. Then it travels from there to a warehouse, from a warehouse to a back of a truck. It's constantly on the ground. It's constantly getting dirt on it. You want to make sure that you clean your vegetables really, really well, and that you do not put boxes on cutting boards or boxes on table. If the box is on the ground and a dog went to the bathroom on that ground, now that box has that remnants on the bottom of it. Do your best to not put it on the table if you don't have to. And if you do not put it on the cutting board and then go ahead and cut fruit on it. That is totally, that's a great way to get physical contaminants into your food, plus microorganisms as well. Band-Aids, we all cut ourselves. We all have to use Band-Aids. Sometimes we have to get them. So if you have a Band-Aid, you're going to cut if you have a cut, you're going to wash your hands. You're going to wash the cut really well. You're going to put direct pressure on it until it stops bleeding. And then you're going to put the Band-Aid on, right? After you put the Band-Aid on, you need to, so here's putting the Band-Aid on, you need to either put latex gloves over it or this thing right here. It's called the finger cot, C-O-T. And essentially, it's just a rubber sleeve that goes over just that one finger if it's at the end of your finger. If it's on the back of your hand, then you're going to want to use a glove. And you want to do that for two reasons. One, you don't want the Band-Aid to fall off and get into the food. And two, it'll become a biological hazard if you get any of your blood or body fluids inside of the food as well. This way, it'll keep your blood inside the glove, and it'll keep the Band-Aid inside the glove, so you don't have to worry about two separate contaminants. Fingernails. Fingernails should be short and clean. Do not wear fake nails. Do not wear nail polish. It all comes off. I get people all the time, well, it's nail polish. It's going to come off eventually. And usually I'll say, let me see your fingers. If they just had them done, that's one thing. But 9 times out of 10, there's parts that have chipped off. It chipped off somewhere, and it chipped off into somebody's food probably. Then there's another one, bandage your cuts and cover the bandages with a finger cot or a glove. Same thing as before. Metal shavings from cans. Be super careful when you're using your can openers, especially the big commercial ones that you inspect and make sure none of this. See how tiny this is? That's my finger, and that's a little bitty tiny shaving. But that little tiny shaving can cause all kinds of trouble. So you have to make sure that you're really diligent watching the can opener when you're using it. Staples from cartons. Now, I haven't seen these in quite some time. Back in the day when I was a kid, almost all the boxes had these staples in the bottom. They're awful when you're opening the thing. Sometimes you cut yourself on them, and that's a problem. But a bigger problem is those staples popping off and ending up in somebody's food. So you have to be real careful if you find those staples. Make sure you remove them. Then make sure that they do not get into the food. Broken glass from light bulbs. This is a big, huge issue. Best way to combat that is to put a plastic sleeve over your fluorescent ones. And then if you worked in the food service business before, you've all seen these look like submarine lights. Has a metal thing around the outside and the plastic sheet on top of that. So if that light bulb does happen to burst, it's all going to be contained. It's not going to fall into your food. Protective covers and shatter-proof resistant light bulbs are definitely the way to go. You have to watch out for rubber blades from the rubber scrapers. A lot of times people will use a buffalo chopper and they'll try to push it around with that, and the buffalo chopper will grab a hold of it, chop it up and put it in your food. Now you can't use it. Food processor, same thing. Use the thing that comes with the food processor to push it down. Do not use the rubber scrapers. Once you get a rubber scraper in your food processor, you pretty much have to throw away all the ingredients that are in there. Bones. Now, bones can be one of two things. If you're on this side and you're serving a whole fish, clearly you're not taking the bones out of a whole fish. So as a customer, you should expect to have bones inside of a whole fish, but you should not have bones in a filleted fish. If you have bones in a filleted fish, that's a contaminant. Even though the bones are grown in the fish, as the chef, it's your responsibility, if you're going to serve it as a fillet, to make sure the bones are removed. Same thing here. You should expect to have bones in fried chicken. If you get a leg of chicken, if you go to Kentucky Fried Chicken and you get the big box or the big bucket, you're going to have legs and thighs and wings, and you should expect to have the bones inside there. But if you're buying chicken nuggets, that should be straight edible. You shouldn't have to worry about any bones in there at all. So if you have a bone in your chicken nuggets, that's a problem. Pits. So pits, the inside of a peach, the inside of figs, the inside of avocado, all these fruits have something that can be considered part of the fruit, but if it's in the food, it can be part of the issue. So all the pits should be removed before you serve your food. If you find pits in your food, well, then you have a problem. Jewelry. The only thing you can wear is one plain wedding band. I don't wear mine. I am married. I love my wife very much. People ask me all the time, how do you get away with that? I say to them, I won't forget that I'm married to her. She's okay. I kind of like her a little bit, so it's all right. But the reason I don't wear it is one day I was driving to work and I'm driving along and I could see my ring finger as I'm holding onto the steering wheel, and there's gunk stuck in. I had 3 little diamond studs and there's gunk stuck in there. And I thought, well, I have to get that cleaned out. And then on the way home that very same day, I'm looking at the same knife, or same ring, and that stuff is gone. So I don't know if it came off when I was washing my hands in the sink or if it came off in somebody's food. But either way, I don't want to take the chance. So that was the last day I wore my wedding band when I go to work. You can wear it when you're not at work. Knock yourself out. Never wear Fitbits or watches. They harbor bacteria. Plus, you will get them all covered with gunk and nastiness. For those of you who are wearing the Fitbit because you're all about exercise or everything like that, use your cell phone, put it in your pocket. It'll connect with your Fitbit. Works the same way. Never wear friendship bands. They're made of cloth. The cloth will definitely absorb microorganisms and harbor them. Don't wear these friendship bracelets. Oops, excuse me. These rubber band things. And I get these all say best friend. I know that they do them for good purposes. They do them for fundraisers. What would Jesus do? All that kind of fun stuff. I get that it's a lot of times it's a school sponsored thing, but we're talking about the food service industry. If you want to be a chef, then you cannot wear these things all up and down your arm. I don't care who you're trying to impress. You can't have them. They harbor bacteria. Face piercings. I'm sorry, can't have them. Earrings. Sorry, can't have them. I get this argument all the time with girls about earrings. But chef, it's only a small little stud. or chef, it's only one little thing, and and they're in their nose or their face or their lip or whatever it is. I get that. I understand it's only a small little thing, but that's part of my problem. The smaller it is, the harder it is to see. If you're wearing big hoop earrings and you lose one, it's going to stick out a little more than a little tiny stud or the back of your earring that fell into the food. Those things they're so tiny and so easy to be missed, that somebody could easily bite into that, break their tooth, cut their mouth, ingest it, and that's even worse. So in the food service industry, if you're working in the kitchen, you're not there for a fashion show, by all means, you can put your earrings on and your face piercings on when you go back into the real world, but don't wear them during production. And if you want to be a culinary arts student, I beg of you, please do not get a piercing right before you go into the kitchen. Don't come to me and say, Chef, I just got it. I can't remove it for 6 months. Well, I can't do anything for you. You need to be aware. If you want to be professional, you're going to be in this industry. That's what you have to do. Watches and medical alert braces. One of my big pet peeves is that you can wear a wedding band, so I know if you're married, but you're not allowed to wear your medical alert bracelet. That's a problem. Either get a medical alert necklace, or get a bracelet. And this is my chef coat with my watch on it. Second or third button down, you just simply put your watch through there. So you can still have your watch, you can still have your Fitbit, you can still have your smartwatch, but it needs to be on your chef coat, not on your arm. It'll protect your watch, and it will reduce the amount of microorganisms that could get into the food, or losing your watch in the food because it's attached to you. The only issue you might have is forgetting about it when you take off your chef coat. That's it. So the best way to prevent any kind of physical contamination is to buy from reputable vendors who are going to give you good quality food. Make sure that you check when work smart, and double check and make sure that everything that you're handling is handled properly, like the staples on those boxes and light bulbs and all those things. And enforce the rules with your chefs and your employees. No fingernails, no fake fingernails, no fingernail polish, no jewelry of any kind, with the exception of the wedding band. No wrist things, watches or Fitbits or rubber bands, that kind of thing. And your life will be much better. Okay, thank you very much.